Today I wanted to begin sharing some insights around how it is that I study the natal blueprint, our natal charts, and to answer some questions that have come through recently about that, about the work that I do. So one of the questions that I get asked often is, am I an astrologer? And no, I am not an astrologer. Yes, I do look at our natal blueprints when I meet one-on-one with someone. I love to look at their natal chart. I do study the archetypes of the planets and the signs. And I don't replace, but the work that I do enhances astrology. The big difference is that when we each come into an understanding of our own natal chart, our natal blueprint, we get to then choose to be in co-creation with and not at the mercy of the sky mysteries. Before I think I can dive into the chart, I need to talk a little bit about calendars. So the Gregorian calendar is the calendar that we follow now. It was introduced by Pope Gregory the 13th in 1582. Prior to that, there was the Julian calendar introduced in 48 BCE by Julius Caesar. For millennia, large civilizations have attempted to create calendars, and the accuracy has always been just a bit off. Most indigenous peoples have always followed the solar and lunar cycles. As I began to remember that I too, in this earthen vessel, at my essence, I am able to be in alignment with the solar and lunar cycles, especially as a woman aligned with that, it opened up so much for me, so much healing, so much greater understanding. And from there, it expanded. We live at a time where we are bound by the calendar. What is the last day of school? I need to set an appointment for a doctor. What day am I flying? Your birthday is so essential. On top of the calendar, there is time. And I am one of those people who thinks, believes, knows within myself that time is really earthbound. This came to me when I had my accident. From the time I was run over until the time the paramedics got there, there would have been no way in that short span of time I could have processed the thoughts that I had at that time. So time, for me, I believe, and this is how I share with those in community and my clients, that as we heal ourselves, now we are healing 7 generations past, 7 generations forward, which actually goes on and on and on. And that the past and the present and the future are all happening at once. This too opened up greater clarity and healing for me. So I bring the calendar and I bring time in because time has capsules in that from conception to birth, that is a time capsule. From being engaged until the marriage, there's a time capsule. Synchronicities are the same way. There is the synchronicity, and there is an occurrence before and an occurrence after time capsule. When I go to the cabin, the arrival there and then the leaving time is a time capsule. What is so important about understanding this is that we slip into the rhythm of our eternal selves, the essence of who we are, expressing ourselves in this earthen vessel at this earthly time. So all that to say, dates, calendars are important, and time is important. But as the song says, time is a wheel in constant motion, always rolling us along. And when we align ourselves, when we remember that we are in alignment with the solar and lunar cycles, it opens us up to that greater healing, that greater understanding. It opens us up to the past and the future while we are held in this now moment. Now, where that comes in with our natal blueprint. So having the understanding is the important part first, to kind of get a little grasp of that. But our natal blueprint is it is the position of the sky at the moment that we are born. And it is not, well, I will bring in the constellations and the fixed stars and the asteroids and everything that's way out there. We're really looking at the sky in a 360-degree circle. From our perspective here, we are looking at the zodiac signs, the seasonal signs. Now, there are many forms of astrology, and I think they're ancient, and I think that they all have value and importance. I love that the indigenous and the ancient peoples, they recognize their connection with the natural rhythms and harmonies of the sky mystery and the earth mysteries. So when I work with someone, what we're doing is we're looking at their natal blueprint, and for me, when it landed with me that I was not just sent here to muddle through. And yes, I've always believed in guides and angels and totems and all of that, but our natal blueprint really is a blueprint for our life here, this life, here and now, in this earthen vessel. And it is our soul's essence, the intent of the essence of our soul in this lifetime. Now, having said all of that, in the studies that I do, we come into a relationship with the various archetypes of the planets, the inner planets mostly. I will go out later after we've studied the inner planets, and that being the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars. We'll also study the ascendant and the midheaven in my life purpose artistry course. And I do this one-on-one with individuals too. So once we really study that, we come into a relationship with the archetypal characteristics of the planets, the signs, and I also bring in the houses. And why? For me, and for many of my clients, it is empowering. It is empowering to not be dictated by or at the mercy of a retrograde or the full moon or whatever is happening. When you know it's happening with the mystery, you get to co-create with that. You know it's coming. You know what to expect. And there's an excitement and an opportunity. Who do I get to be? What's possible, right? It's very, again, it's very empowering, very enlightening. And there isn't anyone that I have worked with that hasn't been like, wow, that is so cool. The other question I get is, how does this all tie in with our intuitive art, my intuitive art? And so I've given you insights on aligning with the solar and lunar cycles. Returning back to nature is huge. And the intuitive art comes in because all of this is very difficult to express in words. In fact, sometimes when I'm working with somebody, I am sitting with them. My essence is connecting with their essence and looking at their blueprint, and things just start to unfold and everyone's like, whoa, wow. And there's almost like no words for it is where I'm going with this. There's like no words for it. It is a feel. It lands. It resonates. And again, it's empowering. The intuitive art ties in because I'm a believer, and this goes decades back, 2 decades back. Almost 3 now, because my accident was almost 3 decades ago, almost 30 years ago. And I was doing this work before that and didn't even recognize why I was doing it and how it was healing me. But intuitive art is our own esoteric language. If you have watched a 4-year-old, I call it the 4-year-old art. If you've watched a 4-year-old who can't express what he's feeling or she's feeling, can't quite find the words to communicate what is going on, they can just pick up a color and scribble a shape or a symbol, and it is out. It is there. It is a story. Their story. Their language. And I believe that through the intuitive arting process, which is movement and writing and scribbling and understanding our natal blueprint, we are accessing our own intuitive essence language. Yeah, I have so much to say on all of this. I hope this has given you some insight. So I'll just recap just really briefly. I have learned that while I'm in this earthen vessel and I'm on this planet Earth, to live with the calendar and the time. I also recognize that time is that wheel in constant motion, always rolling us along. We are eternal beings. We are living in this earthen vessel to have an expression of our essence at this time. And we have been given a blueprint, directions, if you will, instructions, guidance based on the time we were born. And to enhance all of that is the intuitive arting process. All of it together is our pure essence communicating with us, through us, and self-discovery from that essential, eternal part of who we are. If you would like to have a one-on-one with me, send me a message. If you want to know when the next beginning of Life Purpose Artistry is, let me know that too. If you want to sign up so that you just come into knowing all of that, next time I have an arting portal painting or an intuitive painting, we'd love to bring you in. Create an evening that you most desire for yourself.